So here we are in the middle of winter, mid-July, and the results are in. Guys, this is as bad as it gets for mango in a temperate climate over winter. So I showed this same tree here about a month ago or 6 weeks ago, how it was shooting out all these new leaves, and now this is what they turned out to look like with winter fully set in. It even decided to flower, or bud I should say. Yeah, it was very confident, and all these buds have just dried up, even though we got a ton of rain over winter, a record amount of rain. These guys just didn't come through. Not a surprise. Same thing happened last winter. So it tries to come alive during the coldest time of the year, and then it tries again in spring, which is September for us here in Australia. So take one is aborted, and take two in September will be more successful. Yeah, so this is what it looks like on the Glen. This is the Glen variety during the heart of winter. This is a 3-year-old mango. So I've had it for 2 years in the ground there, and another 1.5 years in a pot, so 3 to 4 years old all up. This here is a unknown rootstock, as the graft died a couple of years ago, so I just let it grow out. It was a Kensington Pride, as you can see, dead. So I just let it keep growing from the rootstock. And it seems to cope with winter quite fine. It's got a lot of new tips coming, even though it's the coldest time of the year. I've had this for 6 years in this pot. 6 years. It doesn't die, it doesn't flower, it just sits idle. And yes, I feed it. So we're still waiting to see what this ex-Kensington Pride unknown rootstock does. And here's another Kensington Pride, grafted. This is the one I planted last year in a protected area, protected from cold wind, protected from frost, with these lilies, and seems to be doing just fine, getting ready to shoot out at the end of winter, like the other one. So it's like in a state of pause, but overall looking pretty healthy. So it's been in the ground now for 9 months, its first winter here at Fruitopia. And coming up for its second summer. And here I've got 3 newer mango that I bought last summer. So yeah, I've had these now for about 6 months in pots, starting with the Valencia Pride, and all of them are doing what the Glen was doing, shooting out, and then the cold got them, so they're a little confused. There you go. Try to shoot out at the beginning of winter and then die back, and then another new bud there opening. Same here, pretty much the same on all 3. Same here on this. Start and pause. And this is the R2E2. These are all grafted. And over here, this one is Pervin. Don't know this one. Parvin, sorry. And it's also shot out, but came to a sudden halt with the onslaught of winter. So even though the new growth was arrested, the old growth, last year's leaves, don't have any sign of winter damage. Look at that. It looks like the middle of summer, doesn't it? So green on this Parvin. This one here is a little bit more lighter. The R2E2 and the Valencia somewhere in between those two as far as depth of green foliage. And mind you, these have grown all winter in the pots in the open. This is in the middle of the so-called kindergarten. No cold protection, no frost protection, no wind protection, no protection whatsoever for these 3 mango. They've just been there in the wind, in the cold, in the rain, unprotected, without any sign of cold damage whatsoever. And the reason why I grow my tropicals like this is because, well, I don't want to waste time and disappointment. So if there are signs that it's just not happy, that it just doesn't want to be here, that it's just too much for it, well, guess what? On your way. Goodbye. Obviously, it wasn't meant to be. This Allison Red, which is a dwarf Kensington Pride, which I was quite excited about, might or might not make it. So I saw the first signs of cold damage, or whatever damage this is, at the beginning of winter, immediately in June, early June. So that was over a month ago. So I thought, okay, it's gonna be a sook, and I put him here under the ice cream bin. I offered him some protection. So protection from everything. There he is in there. Alright. Wind protection, frost protection, with these with this canopy overhead. And it got worse. The cold damage got worse.